Hello and welcome back to Murders on the Yangtze River. Last episode we met a journalist in here and she's trying to uncover the mystery, and I think she didn't want to talk to us about what she has already uncovered, so we're gonna investigate this office ourselves. And there is the mysterious shrine. The shrine is dedicated to the statue of Ganjiang and Moye. The shrine is made of rosewood. It also holds an incense burner and 2 candlesticks. A copper incense burner with 3 sticks of incense placed vertically. Jen, there's a western wall clock here. The engravings say that this was a gift from the Wuhan Chamber of Commerce for water transport. Okay. The desk is clean, but the inkstone is covered with dust. It hasn't been used in a long time. Blueprints of the imported furnace are under the paperweight, also documents in foreign languages. These papers are covered in handwritten notes. It seems like Foreman Ting put in a lot of work. Could a craftsman who studies technology and reads foreign documents be superstitious? That's hard to say. My idol, Mr. Newton, was a devout follower of theology in his old age. We should record the condition of the desk first. There's also something like, I've been listening to the complete Sherlock Holmes collection as an audiobook recently. Well, by recently, I mean for the past few months, because it's 72 hours long. But in one of the forewords by Stephen Fry, he mentioned that Arthur Conan Doyle, the author, was also not superstitious in that sense, but he believed in like mysterious powers and stuff like that, which he never really let affect the Sherlock Holmes stories. But I also thought that was just quite interesting, that it doesn't really have anything to do with your intelligence, whether you're, I'm gonna call it, susceptible to believing in sort of higher powers or mysterious beings, or even just, you know, superstitions. Just, I don't know, it's got nothing to do with whether you're educated, intelligent, or anything. And, you know, some of those people even, like, are fully aware that they believe in these things has no, like, logical or rational explanation, but they still believe in them anyway, which I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. It can be if they let it affect their lives in negative ways, but inherently, I mean, I don't know, like believing in ghosts or stuff like that, you know, there's no harm to anyone other than maybe yourself if you're scared of them. Anyway, code of practice. Code of practice, rule number 1, leaving without permission during work hours is prohibited. Rule number 2, name badges must be hung on the board during working hours. Rule number 3, all of the materials used in production shall be managed by the foreman. Rule number 4, those who are absent from work will be fined 7 days in wages. That's harsh. If you forgot to hang your name badge, it would count as skipping work. That's so strict. Here's a board made of copper with several rows of hooks on it. Looks like workers need to hang their name badges on this board when they're on duty. Chen, this is the floor plan for the factory floor. The map looks quite new. It was probably put up not long ago. A working drawing of the open I still don't know. Earth, I think. Furnace is pasted right beside it. Chen, Miss Wen mentioned going to the metal casting platform to get her camera back. Could it be that she caught something shocking on camera? I need to go to the metal casting platform to speak with those who witnessed the incident. Chen, the dock is right outside these doors. We'll go out after we finish investigating this case. Alright, we're leaving through the office door. Chen, we'll reach the metal casting platform if we go up from here. Yeah, thanks, Afu, I know. Hop. Actually, maybe I don't know. Where is this? Oops. Yep. I meant to ask you. Okay, you have no more questions. Can't go past there. Alright, well, I mean, I guess maybe Afu was lying to me. We're not going up from here. It does say ascend to metal casting. Wait, what? It's on the other side. There was like this tiny little sliver of the ladder visible. I now get why Afu is telling you about this, because it's impossible to see. Well, I don't think you're gonna use that camera much more. Huh? There's a camera over here. This probably belongs to Miss Wen. It's completely burnt. What a waste of a good camera. Why do people keep coming up here? I just shoot away a woman and now 2 more guys show up. It's time for us to start casting ingots, so go back down right now. Awu, it's the detectives. You have to speak more politely. Huh? Isn't that Awu and his master? My apologies for disturbing you both. I still have a few more questions to ask. You're too kind, mister. Just call me Old Chow. If there is anything you'd like to know, we will definitely cooperate with you. What do the two of you think of foreman-ting? We don't have any particular thoughts about the foreman. He got what he deserved. There's nothing more to say about it. It seems that the two of you don't like foreman-ting very much. From his point of view, anything anyone else did was always wrong. He just didn't like us. Oh, there's no fault in the foreman having been strict with his demands. Everyone did as he said, but the last batch of steel rails still got screwed up, didn't it? He was just picking holes. About the incident. Were you two the ones who witnessed the process of foreman-ting's falling incident this morning? Yes. If I could trouble you two to please tell me what you saw and heard at that time. This was the first trial production since the furnace was shut down and renovated. Just when we began casting, Abu suddenly said, "The foreman is watching us." There he was, standing next to the outlet. Molten steel was coming out, yet he didn't mind the heat, because he was already dead. Are you sure that the person you saw at the time was foreman-ting? I'm sure. He was leaning on the railing at the time. He looked spiritless and he kept staring downwards. You did not notice foreman-ting before this moment? No, he just appeared there out of the blue. The railings are super hot when molten steel is pouring out, but he didn't care at all. If he wasn't possessed by something, then what? Old Chow, you said earlier that when you saw foreman-ting, molten steel was coming out. Did you see foreman-ting or anyone else open the molten steel outlet shutter? Nope. When we began casting, both molten steel outlets were closed. I remember clearly. I don't know who did it. It wasn't the time to open the shutter yet. And then? I just watched as the railing that he was leaning on disappeared. Huh? Disappeared? You mean the railing broke off and fell into the molten steel along with him? No, it disappeared. It just vanished into thin air. I was watching the entire time. I didn't see anything else falling. Old Chow, did you also see the railing suddenly disappear?
I didn't see it as vividly as Awu did, but the foreman was indeed leaning against a railing, and then he suddenly fell into the ladle. Then it exploded, and fire was everywhere. When I looked again, he was no longer there, and there was no railing either.
Did you notice anything unusual about him this morning? He was wearing a headcloth that he usually doesn't wear, nothing else.
Yeah, I saw it too. Gentlemen, we're about to start casting soon.
Just go back down already. Don't be in our way. Oh, the ladle is coming this way. What are you two still doing here?
It's too dangerous to stay here.
My apologies. We shall make ourselves scarce.
Mr. Shen, Mr. Lee is waiting for you in the office. He said that progress has been made in the case, so he's asking to meet up with you, Mr. Shen.
I have already finished the investigations. Time to discuss with Mr. Deputy Administrator. That was the wrong button. This is what I wanted to press. Shen, things seem to be getting stranger and stranger. We still haven't figured out how Foreman Ting appeared out of thin air. Two more oddities, the disappearance of the railing and the sudden opening of the shutter. Even if Foreman Ting was able to avoid Old Lee, it would be quite difficult for him to be unseen by Old Chow and Ah Wu. How exactly could this have been achieved? Judging from the previous investigation, Foreman Ting was obsessed with steelmaking technology. Then again, all oddities related to the shrine also indicate that he was worshipping a statue. Maybe he was just too focused on achieving success. That's why he decided to go to extremes. Or perhaps the statue holds a different meaning for him. Begin deduction. Investigations have come to a temporary close. Shall we discuss them with Deputy Administrator Lee?
Sure. Miss Wen has already uncovered the whole story of the incident. Let's listen to it together. Miss Wen, please tell us about your findings.
Ting's death wasn't caused by ghost, nor was it an accident. It was actually
murder.
Suicide? I don't believe you.
Suicide? That's out of the question. Today is the pivotal moment for the trial production of the Siemens Martin furnace. Ting was engrossed in this affair. There's no way he would kill himself today of all days.
It is precisely because of today's importance that he chose to commit suicide.
Why is that?
All these years, Foreman Ting has been obsessed with studying steelmaking technology. He proposed a method that was said to greatly reduce the cost of production. As a result, the Hanyang Ironworks began to receive large orders for steel rails. However, at this crucial moment, severe quality problems with the steel rails were exposed.
Ting shouldn't have carried all the blame.
It was mainly due to the high phosphorus content in the coke that was used. To solve this problem, he made a pledge to improve the technique once more. However, each and every trial production ended in failure. In desperation, he had no choice but to turn to superstitions and legends. What happened this morning was actually a planned suicide, or more like a sacrifice.
Could it be that I put too much pressure on him?
Tragic. Foreman melts body to iron and steel. National industry less than ideal. This will be the next headline of my news report. Miss Wen, you seem absolutely sure that Foreman Ting committed suicide. Do you have evidence? Well, of course. I found Foreman Ting's suicide note on the office desk. How convenient. Wait. Hold it right there. Where's the suicide note? How come we never saw it? Such precious news material would obviously need to be protected. How could you hide evidence like that? I was afraid this clue would be lost, so I took it for safekeeping. How could that count as hiding evidence? That is the literal book definition of hiding evidence. Miss Wen, would it be possible to let me take a look at the letter? Sure, there's nothing special about it anyway. For many years, I have given my all to try and make something. Nevertheless, all of my attempts and methods have ended in failure. It seems that I should follow the example of Ganjiang and Moyi. Sacrificing myself to the furnace will surely move the hearts of the gods. The last words of Ting Tafeng, written in the office of the furnace factory floor. Oops. Shen, it really is a suicide note. Oh, right, there we go. It was an auto for some reason. Your Honor, the handwriting does look like Foreman Ting's. Miss Wen, you didn't damage the evidence, did you? Of course not. I kept it exactly the way it was.
Under these circumstances, Xu Heng, go and draft an announcement. Announce the whole story of this incident and quell the rumors. Hold on.
Something is questionable about this letter. This is just an ordinary letter. What's wrong with it? There is a detail in this letter that conflicts with the existing evidence. Miss Wen, I shall review this letter one sentence at a time and question the problematic ones. And then I shall compare the questionable content with the evidence we have already collected. If I am able to find evidence that contradicts the contents of the letter, I shall present it to you. Alright, go on then. Okay, let me first of all look at what we have as evidence again. We have a ladle that's over 2 meters tall and can hold 30 tons of molten steel at a time. We have an outlet shutter lever? We have grayish-white powder found below the railing at the incident site. We have a lingering, pungent odor. We have silver coins. Supervisor hose testimony. Near the steam turbines. Foreman Ting was wearing a head cloth. Desk lamp, a paperweight, drawings, a pen holder, an inkstone, and other items. Dust on inkstone. That's it. The dust on the inkstone, so it hasn't been used in a while. Failure. It seems that you should follow the example of Genji. Yeah. Sacrificing yourself to the furnace will surely move the hearts of the gods. The last words of Ting Tafeng, written in the office of the furnace factory floor. I feel it's kind of ridiculous to even include that in a suicide note. To be like, hey, I've written this in hotel room 37B on the... Okay. Does Miss Wen believe that Foreman Ting wrote the suicide note in the office? This letter was written with a calligraphy brush. It was written on the desk in the office. Then, have you ever paid attention to the inkstone on the office desk? Inkstone? This suicide note is indeed written with a calligraphy brush. It also mentions written in the office at the end. However, the only inkstone in the office is dry and has accumulated a layer of dust. Evidently, it has not been used in a long time. There is an evident contradiction. This letter could not have been written at the office. Ironworks are always dusty, so it's normal for dust to accumulate. Yet there is barely any dust on a desk, not to mention the shrine is completely spotless. It is thus clear that only the inkstone has not been used in a long time. Well, what if Foreman Ting carried a brush and ink around with him? Who in the world would carry an inkstone around? You're being too unreasonable. Is Mr. Detective going to dismiss this possibility? Miss Wen, you are welcome to make such an assumption. However, there is one detail on this letter that contradicts the signature. I'm supposed to do what now? I can't read this. Okay. Contradicts with the signature. Hint, please. Please give me a hint. If the suicide note was written in the office, a certain mark would not be present. I figured it was something like that, but a certain mark. Wait, can I have a... No, I can't have my evidence back. A certain mark would not be present. I don't see any marks. No, I'm clueless. I don't know. I can't hint at anything outside of the letter. Okay. That makes sense. Certain mark. Yeah, I can go like all the way down here. I don't know. Well, I've said that I don't know multiple times now. You know what? Let's guess. Mr. Shen, you're saying there's something wrong with the creases? That is what I'm saying. Precisely. Miss Wen said that she had specially kept the letter as it was to prevent damaging evidence. Therefore, Miss Wen was not the one who caused these creases, correct? That's right, I didn't make those creases. When you discovered the letter, it was lying flat out on the surface of the office desk, correct? Yeah, what's the problem? There are creases on a letter. Usually a letter is folded so that it is more convenient to carry. If this letter was truly written by Foreman Ting in the office before he committed suicide, why would he go through the trouble of folding it? That is a good point. I just figured that she would have folded the letter because, I mean, obviously, why would she not? Well, I guess in her bag she could have had like a folder or something where she could put it in as a whole. Maybe he wrote the letter somewhere else. But the letter clearly states that it was written in the office of the furnace factory floor. That's true. Could it be that the suicide note was forged? That is correct. Someone is trying to cover up the truth of Foreman Ting's death. What? What need is there to cover up Foreman Ting's death? The workers clearly saw him jump into the furnace. That is not true. Could it be possible that the workers who witnessed the incident are hiding something? Ku, go and bring all the workers who were present at the time of the incident for questioning. Yes, sir. Mr. Detective, you still haven't completely convinced me about the problem of the suicide note. None of us can accurately predict the state of mind of a person before their death. It's also possible that Ting wrote the letter somewhere else, then left it in the office.
It is definitely possible, but we're talking about probability now, and, you know, we shouldn't be like, well, my theory hasn't been disproven completely yet because there's a 0.2% chance that it still could have happened that way, when there's a 50% chance or like a higher percent chance that we can find a different conclusion that, you know, fits better. Although this is highly unlikely, the possibility does exist. We should not make conclusions based on a single piece of evidence. Let's discuss it later. Then let's put the matter of the suicide note on hold and discuss other doubts first.
Fine.
Your Honor, Old Chow and Awu are here.
Come on in.
The two of you need to recall the events of this morning once more. Don't omit any details.
We spent all morning saying the same things a bunch of times.
Oh, answer His Honor's question properly.
Oh. At the time, my master and I were in the middle of casting ingots. I suddenly saw the foreman Ting. He was resting against the railing next to outlet number 2.
When Awu informed me of what he saw, I noticed that the shutter behind foreman Ting was open.
So the outlet shutter opened at the same time as the appearance of the foreman?
I think he probably opened it himself. Seconds after, Ting suddenly dived forward. Right after that, the ladle exploded.
There is one contradiction within their statements that is related to this evidence.
Yes.
Nope.
Nope.
Yes. It was impossible for Foreman Ting to open the outlet shutter by himself. He could not have been the only person on site. Why not? The lever is very long. To pull it, one must stand on the other side of the molten steel basin. However, when they saw Ting, they also found the outlet shutter open. This could not be achieved by one person alone.
It might not have been completely simultaneous.
But even still, you would need to run all the way around the whole, thing. It's not feasible. You'd need at least... I'm gonna say at least 10 to 15 seconds.
After all, Awu and I weren't staring at the other side the entire time.
Mr. Detective, couldn't Foreman Ting just pull open the shutter, then sprint to the ladle? No, he could not, because this was present on site. Why it was impossible to reach the ladle that quickly. I'm guessing you might be talking about this? After Foreman Ting pulled the lever, he must have stepped over the basin to reach the falling spot. However, once the outlet shutter is opened, the basin will be filled with molten steel of 1600 degrees Celsius. A person could not possibly pass through. And to reach the spot he dived from, Ting had to pass through the charging area behind the furnaces. This could not be achieved in a short amount of time. Perhaps Foreman Ting opened the outlet shutter beforehand, and it was only a coincidence that Old Chow and Awu didn't see him do it. The outlet shutter was closed the whole time before the incident. I'm not lying. Even if Old Chow and Awu possibly missed sighting him, When Ting passed through the refilling area, he was bound to run into the furnace charger, Old Lee. How do we explain the fact that Old Lee was completely oblivious to Ting's appearance?
Or did the 5 ghosts transport him?
Did the shrine unleash its powers? Ghosts and gods are not at work here. The will of a person is. One other person must have been present at the scene of Foreman Ting's falling incident. The moment Foreman Ting leaned against the railing, that person pulled open the outlet shutter. Wait a second. With old Chow and Awu watching in front of the furnace and old Lee working in the back, if there really was another person present on site, how could they possibly remain undetected? By using this piece of evidence, they would be able to conceal themselves tactfully. I'm guessing, like, this is the... He jumped into the ladle before him. He hid in the molten steel. I'm assuming they're talking about this, but I don't quite yet know how or why. Because nothing else I really feel like, unless they're talking about the blueprints of the, like, there's something hidden here that... I don't really see anything. This is the evidence that aided the murderer in concealing their tracks.
How does this help anyone conceal their tracks? I don't understand at all.
If I wrote about Mr. Detective's absurd trailer thought and published it in newspapers, I'll probably run into readers with potty mouths. Okay. I mean, the thing is, this specifically mentions the ladle that Foreman Ting fell into. But what if it actually isn't specifying that, and what if it's just the ladle? In which case, the murderer would have used the ladle that, not the one that Foreman Ting fell into, but the one that was blocking the other two guys' line of sight, and just positioned himself correctly behind that to be out of the way. That's the only other thing that I feel like could make sense. If that person wanted to conceal their tracks, all they had to do was utilize the ladle. I got it. Shen is talking about a visual blind spot. That feels insanely risky, though. Like, insanely risky. This so-called blind spot, does it refer to an area that cannot be seen? Yes, this ladle is 2 meters tall and 1.5 meters in diameter. It would definitely block their vision.
But my master and I were standing in different places when we were casting. One of us will always be looking at the other side.
Old Chow, where were you and Awu standing during this task? What was your distance from the ladle?
Usually I stand on the left side of the ladle and Awu stands next to me. We're close to it.
I have observed the two of you working from the metal casting platform. Both of you have blind spots when you are working, and your blind spots intersect each other. That is where the suspect hid themselves. But my master and I don't just stand there. When the ladle moves, we move along with it. Wouldn't we see them once we start walking? The reason why you would not be able to see the suspect is because... It is quite simple. By moving alongside the ladle, they could continuously stay in the blind spot. That's... true. As long as they can't see the workers won't be able to see them. As long as I can't see them, they can't see me. Because the path of light is reversible. Interesting. If this was published in a novel or column, I'm sure readers would be interested. However, I'm afraid Mr. Detective forgot that Ting's falling caused an explosion. If there was another person on the platform at the time, how could they survive?
Yet there were no other casualties in the falling incident today.
How do you explain that? I believe the suspect could have hidden here. I guess. Like, nothing else makes any sense. The passageway on the right side of Furnace 2 was not affected. They could hide here. Hidden behind the ladle, they were not far from the passageway when the explosion occurred. While Ting's appearance caught the attention of the workers, they hid inside the passageway. Sounds like the suspect not only knows steelmaking, but also knows people well.
But that still doesn't seem right. Oh, what right do you have to interrupt their conversation?
Awu, what other problems are you aware of? I clearly saw Ting leaning on the railing. He toppled over because it suddenly disappeared. If the shrine didn't unleash its powers, how could the railing suddenly disappear? Railings won't disappear into thin air, kiddo. Ghosts don't exist in this world either. But I saw it with my own eyes, I swear. I am also 100% sure that you saw things incorrectly. It's easy for people's memories to get confused when they're nervous or afraid. I didn't see it incorrectly. Miss Wen, why are you so sure that Awu was mistaken? When I was taking photos yesterday evening, the railing was already missing. Lee, the furnace charger, was the only person on duty last night. He claims that he didn't install any railings. If you don't believe me, look at this photo. Chen, there really is no railing above the ladle.
But I saw him leaning against the railing. Stop sticking your neck out. Too much talk is always a loss.
Mr. Shen, if there wasn't a railing above the ladle, that means that Ting stood there by himself. The workers are also absolutely certain that there wasn't anyone around him. Then how did he fall into the ladle? That's why I said it was a suicide. However, combined with Mr. Detective's deduction, it's possible someone is helping him. The disappearance of the railing and Ting's falling may be connected to this. Oops, no. I misclicked. Alright, let me not misclick this time. This is what I wanted. This is the powder that Afu found near the railings. This powder is actually greyish-white particles that have a lingering pungent smell. This is the residue of a burnt substance. We've only found it at the site of the incident.
This indeed doesn't seem like something used in steelmaking.
We believe that the suspect set up some kind of mechanism on site that caused Ting's falling.
I never thought that the story behind a falling incident could be so complicated.
A mechanism is quite newsworthy. So what kind of mechanism was it exactly? Well, we still need time to investigate that.
I have seen a number of Western machines, strange and intricate things that left me in awe. If the mechanism you speak of can be restored, this whole incident will basically make sense. Ghosts and gods were not at work here, but machinery caused it all. However, there is still one thing that I can't understand. The series of plans was quite complicated and required the cooperation of Foreman Ting. Why would Foreman Ting be at the mercy of another?
I think this is... I am afraid that Foreman Ting at the time had already come to harm.
How is that so?
Ah Wu claimed that he saw Foreman Ting leaning against a railing, staring directly downward. The railings were burning hot, but it did not matter to him because he could not feel anymore. His eyes were not looking down, but instead closed. This also explains why Foreman Ting did not jump down, but instead dived forward. Therefore, I suspect this was a murder. Murder? Then, Your Honor, we need to conduct another round of investigations. Although we have a preliminary deduction of the suspect's MO, there are still many mysteries. Like how the suspect left the scene? As well as the suspect's identity and their motive, we have no clue at all at the moment.
Ting is stubborn and has offended many people. But he is a diligent man who shouldn't have suffered such misfortune. At present, the ironworks can't afford to be delayed any further.
Your Honor, the nature of the homicide is different. If the villain commits more crimes, the ironworks will lose even more. If there is no conclusion by tomorrow morning, you may draft an announcement to calm public opinion. Besides, I believe Mr. Detective will uncover the truth before tomorrow morning. Isn't that right, Great Detective?
I will do my best. Then let's act according to Miss Wen's suggestion.
Jen, why is Miss Wen on our side all of a sudden? She doesn't seem to mind that she lost to you either. I heard that, kiddo. You said this was a competition.
The news should be more important to Miss Wen.
How about this? A falling incident shrouded with mystery. Detective tries to uncover conspiracy.
That works.
Shen, what should we do next?
If Foreman Ting had already come to harm when the falling incident occurred, that proves that the second floor furnace area is most likely not the primary crime scene. We need to think of a way to find the primary crime scene. But we will do that next episode. So, now thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed, and I will see you all next time. Until then, bye bye.